What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sling'n Proffet podcast. I am your host, Sling, as always, joined by my co-host, Prophet or Willie. Which one is that, man?
Oh, it is the Prophet. The Prophet is here. Hey, I told you last week I might not be on the show tonight if I took this job, as Willie's campaign manager, but I talked to him. He was kind enough to let me, take the night off so I could do the show. So, but I had to, I told him that I would be plugging his merchandise and all, and let everybody know. We got to get Willie into that White House this year, guys. Look, reach out to me. We got Willie coffee cups. We got Willie wrappies. We got Willie headdress. We got Willie pins. You can see behind me, we got Willie bumper stickers, Willie for President. You can either buy them from pigskinprofit@gmail.com or go directly to his site, willieforpresident.com.
Prophet,
let's do it.
Prophet, who the hell is Willie? And I genuinely have no idea who Willie for President is.
Willie Nelson.
I don't even know if he's still alive.
He's running under the 420 for all ticket.
Oh my God.
Okay,
all
so
right. Anyway, we got a huge show tonight. We got a lot of big news tonight, a lot of stuff that's going on. And I told you guys the last couple of weeks that we've been
what I just said, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. We're moving on from that. I told you guys the past couple of weeks that we've been working on some big stuff. All right. We've got big stuff in the works, and we're going to announce some of it tonight. All right. We're going to recap our college football picks from last week, where Prophet goes on and he hits again at another 80% clip for the week. If anybody saw my post about Georgia Tech upsetting number 10 Florida State this weekend, that's got 16, I think up to 16 or 17,000 views on Twitter. Listen, we're on a roll, Prophet. I'm not going to lie to you. We got some good things going on here. So we got a lot going on tonight. Johnny's in the house. Mrs. Prophet's in the house. Larry's in the house as always. But yeah, first things first. Let's get into the biggest news of the night that I want to announce, and that is, Prophet. Hey, we finally did it, man. The fruit of our labor has been recognized. All right, and we're going from a couple, let's say, 1,000 views a week to potentially maybe tens of thousands of views. That's right. I'm excited to announce that the contract has been signed. Prophet and I, Sling'n Proffet, because of you guys, because of this show, we've officially signed contract with Belly Up Sports Network, and they're going to be hosting our podcast on the Belly Up Sports Network. And like I said, they have a ton of followers. Just another way to get our name out there on a bigger platform and reach more people, which is all we ever wanted to do, man. And we talk about it all the time. Prophet hits at a 78% clip. Well, nobody else does that. These betting sites, they charge you money. They charge you money to hit at a 55 or maybe even lower clip. We're not charging you money. We don't charge you money for Prophet's picks. We don't charge you money to hit at a 78% clip. All that we want is in return is for you to watch our show, man, because when I see the numbers going up and up and up on this screen, dude, that's what gets me going, and that's why I enjoy doing this. And this is an opportunity. It's a kind of a puts all of our work into a perspective that, hey, maybe we are doing something right with this thing, because I know we put on a damn good production. I know we got the friggin' knowledge. It's just trying to reach the masses, and that's what this is going to help us do. I don't have an exact date of when we're going to be launching with Belly Up, but the contract is signed. We are part of the Belly Up Sports Network as of now, so we are excited about that. Prophet, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, good things happen to good people, and it's like Sling said, we started this. It was a continuation of another podcast that we were involved in, and we wanted to keep it going. We do what we do because we love doing it, and yes, I mean, you guys have all heard, Sling say, Prophet, you gotta get a website. You gotta start selling your pick. That's not what I'm about. Okay. I'm about helping people make money. And we all know that, hey, 80% is crazy, but I've been doing it for a long time now, and hopefully it keeps on going. Being with Belly Up, we thank these guys. I was in contact with them last week, as Sling was. Sounds like these guys are a real tight-knit outfit, and we're going to be a good addition to their show, to their setup, as well as they're going to be a great addition to ours. We're looking forward to moving forward in the future here.
For sure. And we'll obviously keep you guys posted as to when we're officially launching on their network. Again, signed, sealed, delivered, but we are going to be working with them. Prophet, before we move on here, Greg wants to know why are you dressed as Captain Jack Sparrow?
Captain Jack Sparrow. I mean, he's going to have to elaborate a little more.
To the Caribbean. You look like a friggin' pirate, Prophet. You're not even Prophet. You're a pirate Prophet now. So,
look, man, this is the Willie gear. It's not okay. Captain Jack. The only Captain Jack I know will get you high tonight. Billy Joel.
Right. Well, listen. I told you guys we got a stacked show tonight. We're going to go right into our first segment, and we got a guest joining us tonight. I'm excited to have him on. He's a personal friend of mine. He is the founder and CEO of Advanced Sports. We're going to have him on. He's going to talk about what he does for Advanced, and we got some exciting news with a partnership with Advanced that we're going to announce at the end of the segment here. So we're going to welcome in Pete Powell to the show. Petey, thank you for joining us, my man. Welcome to your Sling'n Proffet debut, my brother.
What's up, fellas? Sling'n Proffet. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, thank you for you too, man.
Thank you for having me. And two quick things. First of all, Prophet, I am absolutely voting for Willie, number one. And,
my man.
Yes, I can't see any better choice at this point in time. And then number two, congratulations to you guys on the Belly Up news. That is awesome, man.
Appreciate it.
Testament to your work, what you build here.
For sure. It's just pressing, man. It's doing this trying to do it every week and just staying the course and just grow and grow every week. And hopefully that's what we're going to do with Belly Up. But we're here to talk about you. We're here to talk about Advanced Sports. We're here to talk about our partnership, which we'll talk about at the end. We don't want to spoil it for anybody, but we got big news coming with Advanced Sports. Pete, tell us a little bit, because I know you started this company recently. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what your goal is, and ultimately what you see the future is with Advanced, because it's quite a unique kind of setup that you got with, utilizing the AI and what you do, and kind of tell people a little bit about what's going on.
Sure. I appreciate it, Sling. So yeah, we started Advanced Sports back at the beginning of 2024. It was January 22nd. Date always hold a special place in my heart. Yeah, I was quite honestly, as you guys know, work kind of grew up professionally in pro sports, took a crazy detour into the wacky world of esports, which is a story for another day. And then decided that I really missed, the more traditional sports. And one of the things that I really, quite honestly, think kind of needed to be disrupted in the sports space was how sports teams, leagues, different types of companies go out and try to find their talent. And, quite honestly, not much had changed from the way that people went out to find talent from when I started with the Flyers almost 20 years ago. But, the one major difference between now and back then is, when I was first starting out in sports, if you wanted to work in the industry, you needed to work for a pro team, a minor league team, or a stadium or arena. Those were pretty much the only options. Nowadays, if you want to work in sports, you can go work for DraftKings, right? You can go work for Front Office Sports.
You can go work for Sling'n Proffet.
You can go work for Sling'n Proffet. Exactly.
Yeah. It is. It's true. I mean, media, digital media is such a big platform in sports anymore too, and content creation and stuff like that. And obviously you use that stuff in your daily tasks and stuff, recruiting and like I said, a lot of content creation and just videos, and how important, and we joke about it all the time about LinkedIn and stuff like that, but the interaction on social media is just so important for networking and growing that network. Have you seen have you seen a lot come of, being actively involved in social media and stuff like that with Advance?
Yeah, I would say that being sort of at the forefront of anytime you disrupt anything, right? You need to kind of put yourself out there and get out of your comfort zone, which is one of the things that I've tried to do. I am not, as you know, Sling, not a social media guy by any stretch of the
You've
imagination.
become one though. You learned
I
how
can relate.
you've become one.
I'm sure
Not
you
so
can
much
relate,
Facebook
Prophet.
anymore, but you're
Exactly.
great with LinkedIn now. So
Well, thank you. Yeah, LinkedIn is, they say fish where the fish are, so to speak. Obviously, most of our potential partners and clients are on LinkedIn. So I've tried to be a lot more active there. And yeah, I mean, from a content perspective, I've realized kind of early on, and I think you guys have as well, that people are more interested in following a person social media wise than they are a brand or a company, right? So one of the things that I've tried to do is kind of explain a little more about my journey and how I'm obviously trying to build a business. It's a roller coaster ride. Like
Sure.
I have my off days, I have my bad days when you go to bed and just say, oh my gosh, like what can ever go right? But
Well, yeah, trust me, I know all about that with the NIL business that I tried to start. So,
yeah,
rest in peace, big country. But
big
Pete,
country.
listen, I'm a young kid coming out of college, and I'm hungry, and I want to work in sports, but I don't have a whole lot of experience. Are you somebody that I'm coming to look for that guidance, or are you mostly working with like corporations and stuff, trying to find employees for them and higher end stuff?
So, Sling, this might be to my own detriment. I might be trying to do too much, but I'm actually trying to service both the job seeker and the corporate client that's hiring. And when I say that, I know it's a lot at this point in time. Obviously, I'm pretty much a one man band, so I have to be cognizant of my time. But essentially, what I believe is that the job seeker that's trying to break into a very competitive industry needs some more guidance. They need some more value brought to the table, other than just graduating from X college and applying to jobs, hundreds of jobs online. They need some sort of strategy around how they're actually going to go out and find a job in sports. And a lot of times that comes down to just networking, right? The old
Sure.
expression, it's not who you know, or it's not what you know, it's who you know. It kind of
Right.
rings true. So what I try to do is obviously spend time with them, not just in refining the resume and obviously prepping them for interviews, but connecting them with people that they otherwise would not have the ability to meet every day. And then, on the corporate side, call it the B2B side of the business, that's more challenging. But I'm trying to partner with teams, leagues, companies to fill their open roles so that I can then go back to the job seekers that I'm talking to every day and say, hey, not only can I help you with your resume, I could put you in a pipeline for this job and I can actually do
Right.
something effectively to help you, help you get an interview.
Yeah, and I go back to, and I remember you telling a story about when you were working with a local sports team, and I don't want to name them, and if you do, then that's on you. But you're working with a local sports team, and they, somebody who works hard there for that company was making, say, $30,000, and they open up a letter and they say, well, we're going to pay you now $30,200, like, and you kind of you're taken back by that. Is like, is this real? Is this a real, like, is this really what we're dealing with right now? So for you to kind of be able to, try and help those people and help the little guy by, so to speak, and get these people breaking into the industry. Because quite frankly, you got a lot of experience. But what I want to ask is, when it comes to these B2B things and working with other businesses and so on and so forth, are you finding that you being a one-man band, people are a little bit hesitant, or are people working with you just because of the connections that you have? Because I know, knowing you personally, that you have good connections and you've talked to a lot of big names and you got guys in your DMs and stuff like that. But are people more so willing to work with you, or are you doing your own thing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say that the majority of the connections that you have, I mean, it's like, tale as old as time, right? Everybody wants to help you and support you until you ask them to sign a check, so to speak.
Right.
But
never take a meeting unless you got a checkbook, right? Didn't one of our friends say that, Pete? Somebody said that in the
somebody's wise said that, I believe.
Yeah.
But listen, to be quite honest with you, it has been a struggle in trying to, get corporate clients to retain my services because I'm the new kid on the block in some very well-established firms that have been out there for a long, long time, some very deep relationships that have been out there for a long time. What I have is the ability to sort of be nimble where others have to kind of go through their methodical approach, right? So I can do something like offer, HR advisory services in addition to recruitment, where a lot of executive search firms aren't going to touch HR. They're only going to go do search because that's what they've done for 30 years.
Mhm.
The other thing that I personally, have to work on is expanding my network. As you can imagine, I'm very proud of the network that I have in and around Philly, where I, grew up in South Jersey, and obviously Delaware Valley have a really established network, especially in the industry.
Mhm.
And I would probably put my my industry network up against anybody on the East Coast as well. But when I go out to Chicago, when I go out to Arizona, California, on the West Coast, that's where I really need to start to sort of make more of a name and establish a brand because, frankly, a lot of those folks don't know who I am.
Right. And it's kind of, Pete, we're in the same boat, obviously different industries, but same boat. Like I'll put my content knowledge and Prophet's content knowledge up against some of the best of them, but like I said, we're localized to our loyal fan base, but our goal is to expand out and grow that. And that's what we're trying to do. And I think, like I said, our new connection, I think will allow us to do that. And hopefully, you get that connection that's going to springboard you into really taking off here. But Pete, as you know, man, Sling'n Proffet, we're a sports podcast, but we're focused solely on football pretty much, and a little bit of playing the ponies, if you like, if you know what I'm saying, a little gambling in there. So we run every year. We've tried to, or last year and with the Blitz, the old podcast, we run a pick'em pool, and we run it for the entire year, and it's a weekly pick'em pool. And at the end of the year, the winner takes home a pretty great prize, which I think BP's mom won it the one year, and then I forget who won it the year before that. But I love what you're doing. Okay, I wanted to work with you, and I know we've talked about it before, and we're trying to figure out a way. Hey, how can we incorporate advanced sports into Sling'n Proffet and into this show, and kind of and get your name out there and get our name out there to a new fan base as well. And we figured it out, man. We're gonna be running this year, if I can make this announcement, weekly pick'em pool presented by Advanced Sports, man. So Advanced Sports is going to be sponsoring our weekly pick'em pool ran by Run Your Pool, and that link is active now. I will be sharing that on all of our social media at the end of this show. All right, so you're going to join in our league. It's going to be a running pool throughout the whole year, and the winner at the end is going to get I don't know, Pete, did you have something in mind that you're going to be willing to offer up to the winner of this pool? Keep in mind now, it is a year-long event, so it's a pretty big deal for the winner. So do you have something in mind?
Yes. So what I had in mind, and obviously this can, even be changed to the upside as we go, as I start to expand services here. But what I had in mind, as I would imagine you probably have a lot of listeners and fans out there that are interested in potentially getting in, to sports as a career, helping them, number one, rewrite or redo their resume and have it fully optimized with our Gen AI so that it increases their chances of landing a job in the industry. And number two, I was going to offer a career coaching session or sessions with myself in terms of just trying to kind of strategize from there. Obviously, the resume is one thing, but
sure,
be able to have a sit down and talk through their ambitions, what they want to do, what they're interested in, and then try to connect them is a whole different ball game. So I'm really happy to do that, and obviously proud to be a part of the weekly pick'em pool. I will ask you though, does anyone ever beat the Prophet in this pool, or is this like
So we've actually had that discussion this week, and I told the Prophet he's not allowed to participate under the name Prophet because we got to keep that mystique, because it's just like it's like exposing the magic. If anybody beats the Prophet, he's not the Prophet anymore, but he might be in there under an alias. So you guys heard it here.
And
we're teaming up.
Willie.
Yeah, we're teaming up with it. We're teaming up with Advanced Sports. We're excited about it. They're going to be hosting our weekly pick'em. Winner at the end of the year is going to receive resume services and a career coaching session with Pete. According to your website, that's over a $400 value right there. So that's an awesome prize. I'll tell you right now, I'm going to throw in some monetary value because I know that this is a huge pool, and we want as many people as possible to be joining this. I'm going to throw up a $50 Visa gift card to the winner. I think it's a big deal. Right. So, yeah. So we got Great. Pete's coach. We got Pete's job career coaching. We'll do a $50 Visa gift card, and that'll go to the winner of the event at the end of the season here.
I can't be on the outs too, so. So long as you guys all that are listening and watching guarantee me that you are going to vote for Willie in November, I'll add another 50 to it also.
Hey, now.
Yeah.
All right, Prophet. So now we're up to, we got resume services. We got a career coaching session. We got $50 from me, $50 from Prophet. So we got a $100 Visa gift card going to the winner of the weekly pick'em pool sponsored by Advanced Sports. It's free. It's free to join. There's no reason why you shouldn't do it. We had over 60 participants in our March Madness pool. I expect at least double that for our weekly pick'em pool. It's free. There's no reason not to join. Pete, before we get you going, man, I know we talked about the NFC East a couple weeks ago. Listen, I know you're a huge Eagles fan. Give us your outlook, because me and Prophet, we're not seeing it the way a lot of you Philly fans are seeing it. So give us your outlook for the season for your Eagles, and where do you think they're going to wind up this year?
I'm not sure exactly where you guys see it. Unfortunately, I missed last week's show. However, I will tell you that I am trying to be as realistic this year as I can, given the historic collapse that we all had to endure last year, and that, quite honestly, I'm still sort of dealing with from a psychological standpoint. Yeah. However, there's two things that stick out to me, and that is, number one, as we all know, the NFC East has not been won by the same team for 20 odd years in a row, whatever it's been, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously that tends to pull in our favor here, because I don't know if you guys would agree, I think the division is once again a 2-horse race between us and Dallas. Secondly,
I don't think Prophet agrees, but we'll talk about that again, because Prophet's got the friggin' Commanders winning the division. So,
I will say I do think the Commanders are going to be better than people expect. Prophet, I didn't know that was how you sort of where you view them, but I do think they're going to be decent.
Pete, without getting too far into it, we both pretty much had the NFC East being the NFC South this year.
Yeah.
And
did you really?
Yeah, potentially.
We were fading the boys and the Eagles this year.
Potentially a 9-8 division winner this year in the NFC East.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I'm gonna have to start, tuning in on a weekly basis here. I did not realize.
Listen,
the NFC South.
Hey, we could be doing really well in the pick'em pool if that's the case. So
that's right.
Maybe we'll be getting the career coaching advice. So
yeah, right. All right. Well, very quickly then, guys, I will tell you that while I think the Eagles are going to lose the opening game in Brazil next week against Green Bay, I do think they are going to get back on track relatively quickly due to the fact that they have a slightly easier schedule than last year. And quite honestly, I think that Nick Sirianni is going to be coaching for his job. The difference in coordinators is going to be huge.
We agree on that, Pete.
We agree on that. Yep.
Sirianni's definitely coaching for his job.
Try not to laugh, but I have the Eagles going 13-4.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try not to laugh. I mean, I don't see it.
We don't laugh at the people's opinions.
I just don't see it. I think that the quarterback head coaching relationship is fractured, man. But we'll see. Obviously, I don't think they got a tough a schedule as they did before. So it'll be interesting. We'll see how it plays out. But Pete, we appreciate you coming on the show again. CEO and founder of Advanced Sports, Pete Powell, joining us tonight. He's going to be sponsoring our weekly Pick'em segment. Again, at the end of the show, I'm going to put that out on social media. Make sure you guys are joining that. You got over $500 worth of value to the winner of this Pick'em pool, and it's all free, baby. Pete, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's been nice talking to you and nice learning more about your business, and I appreciate you, working with us and helping the podcast, and hopefully we're able to, it's a mutual benefit here.
Hey guys, I appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for having me, and obviously the partnership here. Hey, let's get a situation where somebody wins the Pick'em pool. I help them land a job in sports, and then they go out with your Visa gift cards and celebrate at the bar.
Hell
right?
yeah.
So
they celebrated the Jug Handle Inn, which is another one of our sponsors, baby.
Right.
So, hey, listen. Hey, Pete, we appreciate you, man. Have a good night, and thanks for coming on, man. Keep tuning in, pal. See you.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Well, that was fun. That was good to have Pete on. And, hey, listen, he's sponsoring our Pick'em pool, Prophet. I said you're not allowed to join. You might be able to join in under an alias, but we'll see. I don't know. I want to keep the mystique of the Prophet alive. So we'll see what happens. But we got to keep moving. You got anything to add on Pete coming on? Man, I think he did a good job.
Well, yeah, I did, and I wanted to say to him, but we ended up having to put Pete. I'm sure you're still watching. I've always been the type of person that would rather partner up with the individual or the small company where you're getting more one-on-one attention in comparison to getting involved with these bigger companies where you're just a number and you can kind of get lost in the shuffle. So hopefully people see that and you got that going for you moving forward.
Hopefully he does, and like I said, we wish him the best. But hey, we're going to move forward because we still got a ton to talk about tonight. We're already a half hour in, so we're going to we're not going to fly through it, but we're going to sail through it. Let's say we're going to sail through it. What's happening? CeeDee Lamb gets paid 4 years, $136 million. He says he's not going to miss a beat for missing 3 weeks of camp. I don't know how that's possible, but he is a professional, so I'm sure he was out there working. Prophet, did you know this was going to happen, or did you have a feeling that he might not get it done before the season? And do you think it's a good deal for him?
No, I mean, it's a great deal for him. And yeah, Jerry Jones, he might be tight, but he's not a dummy. And he knew without CeeDee Lamb on that field, they have no shot at winning this year.
Right.
And he had to get this done before the season started. He did, if Jerry could have gotten him for, say, $60 million, he would have. And that's probably what he was trying to get him for. But, the fact that it took this long is just shows you how Jerry is. But they got it done. And now my big concern is he's not been out there getting hit. And history shows lots of times these guys get hurt a lot when they hold out. And I hope that's not the case, especially if I get him on my team next week.
One guy who hasn't reported yet, and he's not on our topic to discuss, but Brandon Ayuk has not signed a new agreement yet, and he still has not started practice. I saw a presser. I watched a presser right before we came on the show. John Lynch is pissed. John Lynch is not happy. John Lynch said, I'm not going to answer any more questions about it, but at a certain time, you just got to go out there and play. And he's talking directly to Ayuk there. You signed a contract. You're getting $14 million this year, which is not chump change by any means. Dude, it's time to go out there and play. And he was supposed to, all rumors were that he was supposed to end his holdout today, or his hold in, or whatever you want to call it. That didn't happen. Again, 49ers organization is not happy, man. So Ayuk still has not signed, still has not reported with the season.
I think he will before the season starts also now. I think these guys, they were both kind of like waiting to see.
Well, nobody wants to go through camp either, so.
What's that?
I said nobody wants to go through camp either, so.
Right. And and the bottom line is too, I mean, if he doesn't play this year, he's in the same boat next year.
Yeah.
It's not like
He'll get fined. I mean, he's got a
Oh
lot of money.
no, right. But I'm just saying that he can't go and try and find another team next year. He's still under contract for 4 years.
Right.
To the Niners. So
another big move here that the Cowboys made. They signed Dalvin Cook, baby. What are the Cowboys doing in their running back room here? Bringing back Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook rushed for 200 yards last year. Like, this guy's. What are the Cowboys doing? What are they thinking? Is this guy going to provide anything to this team? I just wanted to put it on here because like I said, I'm not sure. Just in the running back room alone, you got Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Deuce Vaughn, and somebody else. It's not a great core group of running backs. Does that make you nervous a little bit for the output of the Cowboys?
No, doesn't make me nervous. It makes me understand just that I mean, it makes me feel better about my pick in fading the Cowboys this year. I mean, let's face it, Dalvin Cook is an upgrade to what they have, and that's saying that's really not saying a whole lot for the Cowboys.
Why is I'm having mic issues here, but you think Dalvin Cook's an upgrade over? Who's to say? Oh, is Dalvin Cook better than Ezekiel Elliott? Who cares?
Right.
They're both not that good.
This is what I'm saying. It's not saying a whole lot for them,
right.
But
hey, it's been a big week though. We got a week off this weekend for the NFL, and we're live action next week. A lot of teams all the teams had to cut down to 53 players. Most of the teams did it by today, and they started their practices already with their 53-man roster. I just want to kind of run through a couple notable releases. If you guys got any in the comments, you got some notable releases that I'm missing here, throw them out there. We're just going to run through them pretty quick. Notable changes as teams cut down to 53. First of all, Chiefs released Kadarius Toney, wide receiver. We talked about him a couple weeks ago, and I think with what they're seeing out of Xavier Worthy, and now it doesn't look like Rashee Rice is going to be suspended at all. I guess they got what they need at the receiver position. They were willing to let this clown go, I guess, to find his third team in 4 years or however long. Did you got anything for this release here, or is it a non-factor?
No, I mean, for the Chiefs, it's a non-factor, but I mean, for Tony's going to land on somebody's team, no doubt. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see him in Miami.
Really?
Yeah, with OBJ out for the first 4 or 5 weeks, he could go down there and help that team as a number 3. And he's got a guy he has a guy that throws lollipops, which he needs because he can't catch a hard pass. So, that would be a perfect fit for him down with the Dolphins.
Yeah, we'll see. Another big name that got released is Cardinals released quarterback Desmond Ridder. Only 2 years out of 2 years removed from, or 1 year removed from starting job in Atlanta. Okay. He in 2023, threw for 2,800 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. And then he goes to Arizona and wound up getting outright released by the Cardinals. Maybe this is a sign to these NFL teams to stop trying to force these guys to play before they're friggin' ready. Not to say that Desmond Ridder was ever going to be ready, because I don't believe that he was. All right, but nobody listens to me on that. Why you use a 3rd-round pick on Desmond Ridder blew my mind. Okay, but you gave the guy no shot. You gave the guy no chance. A guy like that needs to be groomed. He needs to sit. He needs to learn for a few years. Again, he couldn't even make the team in Arizona. So I guess he's going to be looking for a new team. He'll probably land somewhere just from his experience. But what do you think about this release here?
I thought we were doing big name releases.
He was. I mean, he's a starting quarterback last year.
Yeah,
he was a NFL quarterback last year. That's what I'm talking about.
It's like you said, though. He was a starting quarterback that shouldn't have been. It's like I think, yes, he's definitely going to land on somebody's team also. I mean, as a backup quarterback, he could probably do well somewhere. But I mean, obviously the Cardinals didn't think he was good enough to play for them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
know.
know.
The Cardinals have all kind of quarterback talent, don't they?
Yeah, a ton. Kyler Murray, and then who?
Yeah, I don't
Sticking
know.
with the quarterback releases, Patriots released Bailey Zappi, almost paving the way, I guess, for Drake May to be named the starter. I guess that's what that tells me to believe. But another one, Zappi, I think he's a 4th-round pick last year or 2 years ago. 2022. Forced into action. Belichick's last year, he's splitting duty with Mac Jones. Neither one of them were very good, and neither one of them ever had the confidence that they were the starting quarterback of the team. And then he goes in and he's competing with a first round or a top 10 draft pick. Dude never had a chance. He never had a chance, man. It's just like I said, you're forcing these 20, 22, 23-year-old quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, first year, second year quarterbacks into a position that they're not ready for. And now they're paying the price when they fail by being released. Again, another quarterback that I think will land somewhere, but again, this opens the door for another rookie to come in, and who knows what's going to happen. Prophet, what do you think about this one,
But and it's a shame because these teams are totally destroying players. And I am, Desmond Ridder, I personally think he had a better shot at being a quarterback in this league than Zappi or our next guy. Okay. I really didn't have a whole lot of faith in Zappi, but if he did have any chance, like you said, putting them in there, bouncing them back and forth, in and out. You have a bad game, you're out. I mean, they totally destroyed his confidence.
Yeah, and it was Belichick.
Sure, and I just feel bad for these guys. I mean, they're being put in positions that they shouldn't be put in, and it's destroying them for their careers. I mean, what is Bailey Zappi going to be now? The rest of his career, where if
he's going to be the guy who failed in New England. He's going to be the guy who couldn't get it done in New England, couldn't beat out Mac Jones in New England, who had many chances. And I love Doug Peterson's quote today about Mac Jones. He says he's shown some promise in camp, but he still goes back to some of his Patriot ways. Like, how do your head coach is saying that to you? Like, I don't know if he was joking or what, but I don't know. Bailey Zappi is going to be known as the guy who couldn't get it done in New England. And I feel like that's going to a title that's going to carry him for the rest of his career. We wish him the best of luck as he moves forward. Another quarterback that you probably know a lot about down there in Tennessee, Malik Willis. He wasn't released, but he was traded to the Packers for a 7th-round pick. Okay. So when was Malik Willis drafted? 2022 in the third round. Yep. In the 3rd round. And he hasn't even played that much. He's barely played. Okay, so they must have seen enough in practice that they're getting rid of this guy for a 7th-round pick. All right. Does this guy have absolutely no talent? Was he completely overvalued? Probably, but hey, I can't beat a horse enough to tell you guys about overvaluing quarterbacks because you guys will get tired of listening to me, but that's what it is. But we're not talking about that right now. Prophet, does this guy have any career, any future in the NFL, or it clearly is the writing on the wall here? It's almost, in horse racing terms, it's selling a $100,000 horse in a $5,000 claiming race. Is that what this is here?
Well, you know what? Tennessee by far got the best of this trade. Okay, if that's telling you anything. Malik Willis cannot. Yes, he didn't play a whole lot, but when he was on the football field, he was a running back taking snaps. Okay, I don't know what happened to him because he could throw the ball in college. He was a decent college quarterback at Liberty, but he come up to the pros and he just can't complete a pass.
Yep.
Why? And I looked at it today too, and he's their backup in Green Bay. He's Jordan Love's backup. They only have 2 quarterbacks on the team. Yeah,
he's got a spot. He's got a roster spot. So,
but you know who booted him too? My boy Mason. Mason made it so they could get rid of him.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you always call it your boy Rudolph. So, Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if, like I said, he's got a job, he's got a roster spot at least for now. So,
Right.
But he hasn't shown anything to the Titans honchos that needed to see something over the past 2 years. But that'll wrap it up for our weekly round, or I'm sorry, for our what's happening segment. We had a lot of releases. Anything that came to your mind? Anybody that we missed there, Prophet, that came to your mind? I didn't see a whole lot of big names get released.
There wasn't a whole lot of big cuts.
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna head in. We got a quick weekly roundup segment. We got a couple games to talk about at least, but anytime we get to play the music, it's a good night. So we're gonna dive into our weekly roundup here. Gotta love it.
The highlight of the show.
Yeah, well, some will say that it's the highlight of the show. Anyway, let's talk about this for a couple seconds here. Georgia Tech gets it done, beats Florida State in a thriller. What was the final score to that game? 24-21 on a last-second field goal. Listen, I told you that I posted that link to me. Claiming Georgia Tech is one of the sleeper picks for a college football playoff. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I said that I could see it happening, and I posted it on Twitter, and I posted it as a receipt and said, "Hey, check the date on this." I posted this last week. I'm not one of those guys that goes back after the fact and makes a video and says, "Oh, I made this video." Blah blah blah. I posted that last week. We're up to like 16,000 views on that video, which is pretty cool. You last week said Georgia Tech's winning outright. You put a half a unit on them and a whole unit on them on the line.
10.5 point underdogs. Yep. And
so what are you eating this week? Steak and king crab legs
all week.
Yeah, I mean at $100 a pound, the king crab legs. Holy smokes! But you could afford them dropping money like that.
I had them shipped in from Alaska, man.
Oh, I was watching Deadliest Catch last night, man. Those guys are crazy. That show's still on. I told you I was binging it the other day. Anyway, Georgia Tech gets it done. They got a little bit of a reprieve this week. I forget who they're playing, but it's not Florida State. I know that it's nobody of that caliber. So
before we move on, Sling, let me just say, man, what a great week of week 0 college football this was.
It really was, and something that wasn't supposed to probably pan out the way we expected it to pan out. It was a really good weekend of games, and we're going to talk about that obviously because we're rounding it up. And Montana State, another one that I had. Listen, I had you were all over New Mexico saying they suck. Blah 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 blah. I said, dude, they're an FBS team playing an FCS team, and for three, and what's 3.5?
3.5 roughly, yeah.
3 3/4 quarters. It looked that way. All right. Montana State was down 31-14, and they were down 31-21 with 5 minutes left. And they rally from behind to beat FCS New Mexico Lobos. It was a thrilling game. It was a game that pissed me off because like I said, I had the Lobos winning, and I thought they should have won, but holy smokes, when you let an FBS or an FCS team come back from 31-14 deficit, you're going to have to look yourself in the mirror if you want to win some football games this year. What did you think about this game, Prophet?
I mean, I thought it was a great game. I got to catch the end of it, and I faded New Mexico to the point where I had Montana State. They were my only loss last week. I really didn't think the game was going to be this close, but I didn't mind losing that game because of the enjoyment I got from watching it. It was a great finish to what really was a really good game. New Mexico
it was a good game. It was a good game to watch, and it was exciting, man. And this talk about exciting. SMU versus Nevada was exciting too. It was a friggin' Nevada was 23-point underdog or whatever. SMU was sloppy as hell. They a guy that I talked about earlier in the week in one of my individual shorts, Preston Stone. He came out and he laid an egg. He was actually benched for a little bit. I didn't see what happened, but he got benched for a little bit. I don't know if the backup quarterback just didn't do anything or if he got hurt or whatever, but Stone comes back in the game, winds up leading SMU to a last-second victory. and SMU is able to beat Nevada 29-24 in the final seconds of the game. But again, for an SMU team that's going to be riding their star quarterback, they need to be able to step it up against a Nevada team that's probably not, going to do much damage this year. So were you able to catch this game at all or no?
I didn't, unfortunately. I only caught the end, the final score, and looking at it, I saw that SMU outscored Nevada 16-0 in the fourth quarter to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I just had a feeling Nevada was going to come to play, and I'm just not sold on SMU this year.
The quarterback Stone is coming off a nasty broken leg, so that was his first game back. Maybe he'll settle in now. Who knows? He went from being a dynamic, versatile dual threat to like I said, he's got one of the quickest releases that I was watching on film, but he didn't use his legs a whole lot against Nevada, and I don't know if that's because of the injury or just because the opportunity wasn't there, but it'll be interesting to see if they're able to do that the rest of the way out. So, and moving on to our last game of the weekend, Hawaii gets by Delaware State 35-14. Now, Delaware State, all their travel problems, the bus snafu, the plane snafu, missing their flight. I did not give Delaware State a chance in living hell in this game, and I'll be honest with you. Listen, I'm a 10-month year employee, or a 10-month out of the year employee. I haven't gotten a paycheck in a while, so my betting has been down. All right, but I threw a couple dollars on Hawaii this week. That was my only play this weekend, and I said, listen, I'm busy Saturday. They're playing at 11:59 p.m. I'm going to be able to go home from work, watch the game, and I got a little small play on them. Nothing crazy, but a little something to wet my whistle for this week. And first of all, I didn't make it to 11:59 p.m. And when I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, the game was still going on, and I saw the score, and I rolled back over and went back to sleep. I said, "You got to be kidding me!" So Delaware State came to play. Hawaii, Hawaii's not going to be relevant. Delaware State's not going to be relevant. But I was just pissed off that I started the year off with a loss.
You have a bat phone that dials direct to the prophet's ear. How are we supposed to get people to follow the prophet if his cohort won't even follow the prophet? I told you.
That's what I'm here for.
Was going to cover this game.
That's what I'm here for, Prophet. I gotta be the devil's advocate, man. I got to. And there was no way. I have an inside track at this Delaware State team. All right. I've seen pictures at training camp, and I was like, man, these guys don't look very big. They look like little kids. I did not think that there was any way that they were covering this game, but they did. They played all right, and I'm sure they got a nice little payday out of it too. So good for them.
Yeah, and they got lots of ways when they were getting off the plane over there too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this week's weekly roundup segment. Always good to get a roundup in, even when there's no NFL games going on. Let me close out my tabs here. We're going into our games of the week. Prophet, I looked over and I let you choose the games of the week this week, and I'll let the fans know that Prophet chose the games of the week this week. There's a huge slate in college football. There's a lot of different ways you could have went with some of these games. There's some games left off that people are going to be wondering, how the hell is this not one of the games of the week?
Yeah.
We picked 4. All right. We picked 4 of the games that we thought were top games. And, obviously, Prophet, listen, nothing's ever a coincidence with Prophet. So if you're watching, he picks these games for a reason. So whether he's got a feeling about them or whether he's got a hunch or an inside play, it'll be interesting to see when we talk about it here. But we're going to go with our games of the week. Obviously, no NFL this week, but our college football week 1 kicks off in full swing. I'm not doing anything Saturday. We play tomorrow night. My high school team plays tomorrow night. We open up. And I'm not doing anything this weekend except watching college football from 9 a.m. with College Game Day all the way through to midnight or 3 a.m. with Hawaii and whatever FCS team they're playing. So first game of the week up is North Carolina Tar Heels visiting the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The Tar Heels come in at 1.5-point underdogs. and over-under set at 50.5 here. Listen, I think that there's been a lot of change, especially at the quarterback position with the Minnesota team. I know their starting quarterback transferred to Rutgers and is now playing at Rutgers. Why am I reading on this site that they got Minnesota plus 1.5? What do you have on this line?
NC's the favorite in this game. NC's actually, I saw them as a 2-point favorite, but it could have gone down.
What the hell? I must have read. I read that wrong, I guess. All right, check that. We got NC minus 1.5. Damn, that changes things. I'm taking North Carolina. I just don't see Minnesota doing it. I'm taking North Carolina, whether it's minus 1.5 or plus 1.5. I got the Tar Heels in this one. Prophet, who you got?
Well, okay, let me first say that I appreciate your support and endorsing me here on these games, picking these games. And when I picked them, I did have a reason. The games that I looked at, I liked and all, but I'm going on record. I made picks today, but I have been heavily medicated all day today, so my picks are not going to count against my record today. And yeah, I had surgery yesterday, and yeah, so not making excuses. I'm still going to give a selection.
Let's give a round of applause to Prophet. He did legit have surgery yesterday, and still fighting through tonight and doing the show tonight. So, Prophet, we do appreciate you. I wasn't expecting to see you tonight, but when I texted you, you said there's no way I'm missing it. So I do appreciate you making it, and we're hoping for a quick recovery for you.
I was just reading and double reading and triple reading and wait, what did I just read? So, but at any rate, I like the Tar Heels here too. They play well. They play well their opening game. Minnesota, not so much. I think the Tar Heels are going to get it done. They have to travel into Minnesota, but I think they're going to win this by a touch.
Moving on, TCU at Stanford. One of the games, I don't know, question this a little bit, but two teams coming off less than stellar seasons. Stanford coming off a lowly season. The Stanford first game in the ACC right now, so interesting for them. They come in as 9.5-point underdogs on their home turf. TCU coming off a 5-win season, I believe. I'm still going with the Horned Frogs here. I think TCU is going to be. Stanford hasn't been that good in a few years, probably since they haven't been really relevant since Luck left, but. I'm going with TCU here. I think they cover. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I don't think it's going. I think I'm going TCU and under with this one, but I know we're not counting that.
Now we got, TCU's hasn't been playing well past 5 years in opening games. They don't do well. Stanford's 2-0 at home in the last 5 years in their opening games. They're both, like you said, coming off of down years. Stanford's been down for a few years, but I like Stanford in this game. I'm taking the Cardinals and the points.
Cardinal. There's no S. It's just a tree. It's like a tree.
We need more than one, though, in order to beat TCU. We got to have at least 3. So.
Oh, it's like deer. Like when deer is the plural of deer. Or it was deers. I don't know. Fish and fishes. I don't know. I just know it's a Stanford Cardinal, but whatever. I don't think they're winning this week. Next game we got here is big one here. Clemson at Georgia. Playing this at the Superdome?
Superdome, right? Mercedes Dome.
Yeah. Where's the Superdome at? New Orleans?
New Orleans, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a home game basically for Georgia, but it is Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, it is definitely a home game for Georgia. Most professional analysts have got Georgia winning the national championship this year. I don't dispel that, but 13.5 is a big number, especially for an opening week game. I'm going to take the dogs, man. I'm going to take Georgia, and I think Georgia's going to come out early in week 1 and establish their dominance in this conference and basically put it out there to say, hey, we're the team to beat this year, and we're going to make our mark and prove our point against Clemson and make an example out of Clemson. I got Georgia covering this game.
Yeah, go figure. I'm on the other side of this. Yeah, look, I give both of these programs, a pat on the back. Start the season off with a game like this, man. It's almost like you lose and you could be done. You can't lose the rest of the way
anymore.
out.
That's not true anymore with a 12-team playoff. That's not true anymore with the 12 team.
Though.
That's
really.
Not true. That's
Okay,
not true either. I don't think that's true. I think a 2-loss SEC team can get in into the playoffs with 12 teams. But we'll talk about that at a later time.
That'll be at the end of the year discussion. You're right. I mean, an SEC team with 2 losses will be in there for sure. But both of these teams are returning key players in skill positions. And last year, at the end of the season, Clemson was one of the best teams in college football, and 13.5 is just too many here. I think it's going to the end of their season is going to carry over. I'm going with the Tigers.
All right, so I got the Georgia Dogs. You got the Clemson Tigers. Whatever. We're on opposite sides of the fence again. We're moving on to our last game. Penn State versus West Virginia. Big used to be a big rivalry. I don't know what's the name of it. No, I don't think it has a name. Penn State's going into
or something.
Yeah. I don't know. Steel. Yeah. The West Virginia coal miners field bowl. Anyway, Penn State's going into West Virginia. 8.5-point favorites in this one. Over under set at 51.5. I like West Virginia. I like West Virginia's quarterback, Garrett Green. If you guys watched my individual short, I did a feature on him. Dynamic quarterback, dual threat guy, can run the ball, can pass the ball. Really made a name for himself last year. Penn State's been notorious for starting off slow. And I just, again, you talk about, we talked about it earlier, guys coaching for their job. You got to wonder, how much longer does James Franklin have with this Penn State team if he doesn't get them over the hump? I just don't see it happening. I think West Virginia is going to go in. They got a good quarterback. They got a solid program coming back. A lot of people saying that West Virginia could be a dark horse for this 12-team playoff. I think we're going to see that this weekend, and I got West Virginia covering this game. Prophet, who do you got?
I mean, I like West Virginia this year. They do have a lot of key players coming back from last year's team. Everything I'm saying is that West Virginia is going to have a team this year, and I agree with it. I'm going with the Mountaineers, and
yeah, baby.
I'm actually going with the Mountaineers in an upset this week.
Whoa.
I'm taking the Mountaineers outright in this game.
All right. Well, we'll have to clip that up in case things go the way they did last week with Georgia Tech. Profits going Mountaineers outright. I'm not that brazen. I got the Mountaineers covering the spread here, so we'll see. Should be a fun weekend of college football. Ton of games, ton of good games to start. I mean, you got Clemson, Georgia, week 1. What did we do to deserve that? You got Penn State, West Virginia. You got Stanford, TCU. I mean, there's a ton of other games that you could talk about, man.
And there's a couple of key games on Sunday and Monday too. I just didn't want to go. I didn't want to go too far. Let's make the money early, man, and relax.
I'm curious to see how. Here's 2 games you got to watch. How does Florida State bounce back against Boston College? Now, that's one team that if they do lose again, I don't think Florida State bounces back and makes the playoffs. Now, keep an eye on that game. It's in Tallahassee. All right.
Okay.
So, but the other game is, I do enjoy watching Colorado because it's a spectacle. but keep an eye on North Dakota State tomorrow night.
That's tomorrow night, yeah.
Yeah, keep an eye on North Dakota State tomorrow night, playing tough against those Colorado Buffaloes, man. And I'll tell you what, if North Dakota State makes this any kind of a game, people are going to be pissed. Because guess what, the time is now for the Buffaloes to get this thing done. So keep an eye on those couple games this weekend as we're going through here too.
Keep an eye on New Mexico too. I mean,
why? Who are they playing?
I think they have a conference game this week. I saw it earlier. I can't remember. But there's no way that team can bounce back after that heartbreaking loss last week. I mean, that's one of my favorite plays this week. I'm all discombobulated here.
Let's look it up. We could look it up real quick with the magic of the internet. And New Mexico Lobos football Saturday, August 31st. They have Arizona, number 21 ranked Arizona at 10:30 at night. So no, I don't see them winning that one. I don't know what the line is, but
it's probably going to be about 30, 32 points or so. And I just don't say it.
Johnny H says take the Bison, and Mrs. Proffet says Colorado. So we got a split room here. We're a lot to talk about on the show next week. So hey, we're moving. That'll do it for our game of the week segment. Listen, don't forget, when we start the NFL season next week, on the show next week will be the inaugural show where we're doing the Jug Handle In game of the week. Again, remember, if you guess correctly the winning team and the score of the game for the NFL Jug Handle game of the week, they'll send you a free gift certificate right to your house for delicious juicy wings at the Jug Handle In. Jug Handle In. Got wings.
Got wings.
So we're looking forward to that starting up next week's show. Jug Handle In. We again thank them for being a great, gracious sponsor. So, hey, Proffet, we still got to do 2 more divisional breakdowns. We got to get through it. It's tough to get through these breakdowns a little bit when there's real live football on, isn't it?
Yeah, but hey, we labor through for our watchers and listeners, man. We do the grunt work for you guys. Hopefully,
speaking of grunt work, you did some grunt work this week, Proffet, didn't you?
You
did some grunt work, and you secured us a guest for next week's show, did you not?
I most certainly did.
Well, there's a reason, because we were supposed to go. We usually go AFC, NFC.
Right.
Now, if you remember, last week we did AFC, and tonight we're doing the AFC West. Why are we doing the AFC West tonight, Proffet?
Well, because if there's one person that knows the NFC West, and in particular the San Francisco 49ers more than I do, it's our old buddy BP, and I invited him onto the show next week, and we couldn't have 2 guests on the show in one night. We didn't want to be here until 11 o'clock. So we switched it up a little bit, and we're going to have another special guest on next week.
That's great. We're going to have BP, the original host of, it used to be the Peebcast, and then he brought us on the Backyard Blitz, and this is how this whole thing started. So we do owe an ode of gratitude to BP for absolutely putting us together and getting us. Larry says, not BP. We're looking forward to it. BP with the 49ers. It's always going to be a good night. So we're looking forward to having him back on the show next week. We're going to do the NFC West next week. We got the AFC West tonight. Let's dive into it. We're at an hour, 5 minutes. All right. Let's get this thing done in 15 minutes. How does that sound? Can we do it?
We can do it.
We can do it. Let's talk about the AFC West. We got the Chiefs. We got the Raiders. We got the Broncos, and we got the LA Chargers. As always, we start at the bottom with the Los Angeles Chargers, 2023 record, 5-12, 1-5 in the division. New coach this year, bringing in Jim Harbaugh from Michigan, got right out of there in the nick of time before the hammer dropped on that program. Funny how he seems to do that a lot. He's kind of a scumbag, but I'll let that go. I'll let that go to the jury out there. Okay. Couple more key additions to this Chargers team. Joe Alt through the draft, offensive lineman. Ladd McConkey, wide receiver, who's been having he's been garnering a lot of attention this preseason, and they're really high on this wide receiver. So it's interesting to see how this rookie comes out and does this year. J.K. Dobbins, running back. Gus Edwards, running back. Will Disley at tight end. Bradley Bozeman, offensive line, and Denzel Perryman, defensive lineman. Couple key departures here. Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen at wide receiver, Gerald Everett at tight end, Nick Williams, defensive line, Kenneth Murray at linebacker, and Jalen Hawkins at defensive back. Todd checking in, legit scumbag. Everybody, no, I don't find too many Jim Harbaugh fans, so it's funny to see one of the world's most hated people as an NFL head coach. Anyway, Vegas has got
when his brother is a pretty decent guy.
Yeah, John's a great dude. Yeah. Anyway, Vegas has got these guys at 8.5 point. I'm sorry, 8. See, I'm set on the games of the week. Vegas has got these guys over under wins at 8.5. Everybody loves Justin Herbert. Prophet, like they're so high on Justin Herbert, great quarterback, this phenomenal. When's he going to do it? When's he going to get it? I don't get it either. I do not get the aura around this guy, and it's still happening. I mean, I reference sports cards a lot. Justin Herbert is still one of the hottest sports cards you could possibly get. Why? This guy is average. He hasn't done anything. He threw for 3,100 yards and 20 touchdowns last year. Granted, it was 13 games. 20 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He hasn't done anything relevant with this team in the how many years has he been in the league now? 5?
4 or 5 now, yeah. And every year their number is there. 8.5, 9.5 wins, 10.5.
Right.
I mean, he made it to the playoffs one year and went into Jacksonville, and they got beat with what, after being up 28 at halftime, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, this team is just notorious for being average, and I don't understand how this guy is still on the pedestal that he's on, because I am not a Justin Herbert guy, and until he shows me that he can get it done week in and week out and take this team to where they should be going, if he's the elite quarterback that he is, or that some claim to be, or some claim him to be, I just don't see it, man. And I got the Chargers going under 8.5 wins. I got them about 7 here. What do you got, Prophet? And don't tell me that I used to be high on Justin Herbert. I used to love his baseball card or his football card, and he's a decent fantasy play, but I never called this guy elite.
No, I didn't say that, but I didn't say you said he was elite, but you used when he first came into the league, and whether it be because you had a ton of his football cards or what the reason you liked him. But hey, I liked him too, but he just over the years he isn't getting it done. And I really don't think he's going to have much chance of getting it done this year. I mean, I think this team's going to go more to a running game. They brought in, the 2 Baltimore drops. I guess he's talking to his brother and saying, yeah, these guys can still play. He has nobody to throw to. Okay, McConkey, yes, good stuff is coming out. But good stuff was coming out about Quentin Johnson last year, too. And Quentin Johnson's now second, he's a second-string receiver out there. All that being said, I still see this team going, possibly 10 wins with their schedule, and I'm taking them over. They have an easy schedule. I mean, they get
one and done. I mean, if they get into the playoffs, they're not making noise in the playoffs, right?
Oh no, by no means. But I mean, 3 of their games are. The AFC is so weak again this year. Okay. So they got 4 games against the Raiders and Denver. They got Arizona, Tennessee, New England on their schedule. Just to name a few puppies. And so I can see them going over.
All right. How about fantasy plays here? Even though we don't necessarily care for him, well, he's going to be drafted.
Yeah, I got him as a top 20 quarterback. I got Gus Edwards as a top 15 running back. I have no receivers coming out of this off of this team, and I got Will Dissly as a top 12 tight end.
All right. Well, you heard it. I like Dissly. I don't know where he got drafted in my league, but he might not have been drafted. I'm not sure. We're moving on to the next team. The Denver Broncos finished last year with an 8-9 record, 3-3, good enough for third in the division. Couple key additions here: Bo Nix, who's been named the starting quarterback over Jarrett Stidham, over Zach Wilson, who one of these coaches came out today and said they see starter traits all over Zach Wilson. I'm like, what starter traits could you possibly see in this kid? Anyway, Josh Reynolds, wide receiver, Malcolm Roach, D-line. I guess they're just trying to love him up, or maybe they're trying to, build him up for trade bait. Like, oh man, this guy lights up our practice. You should see him. You should definitely trade for him. Anyway, but Sam Mustipher at offensive line and Levi Wallace at DB. Couple key departures: Russell Wilson, quarterback, who just got named today as the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they named Russell Wilson starting quarterback. They lost Jerry Jeudy. They lost Cam Fleming, Josie Jewell, and Dustin Simmons at defensive back. Over/under wins at 5.5. Listen, Bo Nix is going to come in, and he's this rookie quarterback. Nobody really expected him to get drafted where he was, but he did, and he came in and win the job, played pretty well in the preseason. But as Prophet says, preseason is preseason for a reason. It's tough for me it's just tough for me to go under 5.5 wins, because if you're under 5.5 wins, you're a really bad team. And I don't see these guys being a really, really bad team. So I'm going to go over 5.5 wins, maybe 6, maybe 7 wins, but that's about it. I don't see much out of these guys. Prophet, what do you think?
Well, like you said, I mean, Nick's won the starting job. Big whoop. I mean, against Jarrett, he beat out Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson. Good for you, Bo. I mean, I honestly think Bo would have benefited from a year on the sidelines, but he's getting thrown into the fire like all these other teams do, so it's going to hurt him. Javonte Williams, he doesn't butter the biscuit for me at running back at all. And the receiving core and tight ends, they're average at best. Losing Jerry Jeudy is a big hit there. I mean, getting Josh Reynolds, I don't know. I didn't think he was all that great in Detroit, but they're saying, this is a great acquisition for them. But we'll see. I guess time will tell. I mean,
he's kind of a Swiss Army knife too, because I know they got him listed at receiver, but he could play some running back too, and we're seeing more and more of that with Debo type players and Cordell Patterson and people like that. So we'll see how they use them.
I don't know. Their schedule's not brutal, but this team isn't good either. And I mean, I got them going under the 5.5.
All right.
And
I mean, it's a tough.
As far as fantasy, I mean, I got Nix is a late round pick just to fill out your roster, and Cortland Sutton as a round 12 and up, and that's it from that team.
Well, we're moving on here to talk about intriguing Raiders team. All right, a lot of people talking about these Las Vegas Raiders. Some people talking about them for good. Some people talking about them for bad. And I think there's a little bit of oil and vinegar or oil and water here on this podcast regarding the Raiders, because I'm talking about them for good, Prophet. All right. They finished the year 8-9 last year, 4-2 record in the division. Head coach Antonio Pierce coming back, got these guys ready to go, man. Talk about a leader. Talk about a motivator. You look at Antonio Pierce, that guy can motivate a team. All right. You got, Brock Bowers, who is the best tight end to be drafted in the
since last year.
No, come on.
When they took Michael Meyer.
No. Brock Bowers is a once in a decade type player, and you'll see that. Gardner Minshew, Alex Madison, running back, Michael Gallup, who had a nice little run there in Dallas, Harrison Bryant at tight end and Christian Wilkins at defensive line. A couple key departures: Jimmy Garoppolo, Josh Jacobs, running back, DeAndre Carter, receiver, Hunter Renfrow at receiver, Austin Hooper, who's a nice tight end, and Bilal Nichols at defensive tackle, and Tyler Hall at defensive back. Vegas has got these guys set. It's 6.5 wins. Prophet, I love Minshew, man. I'm all over the Minshew mania. Minshew's the starting quarterback. I think that he's got weapons on offense with Brock Bowers, all right, with Devontae Adams, all right. Now you're adding Michael Gallup into the mix, who give you a little deep threat. I don't know if I've got. This is going to be up there with one of my strongest picks. I'm going over 6.5 wins here with the Raiders. I got these guys possibly winning 10 games here and making a run at the division. Not at the division. I take that back. But they're making a run for second place, wild card. What do you have on them?
Well, even in one of the weakest divisions, the 70 porn star Gardner Minshew just ain't going to get it done, man. He's going to be in for a long year. This team is not good. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know how you say he can't. Look what he did in Indianapolis last year.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
I don't want to get you worked up. I know you got sutures, and I can't pop your stitches, but I don't want to get you worked up. But I think you're wrong with the Gardner Minshew.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I mean, that's why, there's chocolate and vanilla, man. We all have our opinions. And
you need to stop being so nice, because people want to see us argue. So when you're feeling better and when we get into this season, you need to start coming back.
Okay. Well, here's one for you. Okay. Like you said, they chose Brock Bowers in the first round instead of trading up and going after a quarterback, which they knew they didn't have in Aiden O'Connell. And they're hoping for the best in Gardner Minshew. Okay. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. They didn't need Brock Bowers. Yes. At the time of them drafting, was he the best player available? Absolutely. Okay. But they have Michael Myers. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that they took
Larry
Brock
says
Bowers.
they get 9-8.
Well, okay. Well, he's agreeing with you, and that's good. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, Zamir White losing Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs going to be a big hit to this team, because if they can't throw the ball, now they got to depend on Zamir White to run the ball, and Zamir White is average at best. I don't know. I got this team going under. I think they're going to win 5 games.
Wow, that's unbelievable to me. I'm not going to take it personal, though. I'm not going to take it personal that you're hating on my boy Gardner Minshew. But he's a winner. He's a baller.
I like his mustache, man.
Yeah, he's a baller, dude. He wants to win. He's going to win. All right. What do you got fantasy-wise for this team? We're running out of time.
I got Zamir White as a top 20 running back. Devontae Adams, because of Gardner Minshew, a top 20 receiver. And Brock Bowers is a top 12 tight end. And that's because of Michael Myers being there. I mean, they're going to split time to start. Brock Bowers is hurt right now. He's going to play, but he's dinged up. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a hammy. That could be a problem going through the year.
All right. Well, you heard it. Raiders going under, according to Prophet. Raiders going over, according to myself. We'll see. Obviously, we're going to see how it plays out, and we're going to revisit this. We are keeping receipts. All right. We're keeping receipts. And we're going to revisit this again at the end of the year. And our last team in the AFC West to break down is the Kansas City Chiefs. Always reliable Andy Reid. Finished 11-6 last year. After getting off to a slow start, a lot of people were questioning that Travis Kelce still had it in him. Taylor Swift kind of coming out and making her presence felt. Swifty's bringing a new crowd to the NFL. They finished first in their division, obviously. A couple key additions: Xavier Worthy, wide receiver, Carson Wentz, which I wouldn't call key, but he's a decent backup, and Andy Reid knows how to use them. Irv Smith at tight end, Marquise Hollywood Brown at wide receiver, who's dealing with an injury right now, and Matt Araiza at punter. Couple key departures: Jarek McKinnon at receiver, Marquez Valdez-Scantling at receiver, Blake Bell at tight end, Donovan Smith at offensive line, Willie Gay at linebacker, and L'Jarius Sneed at corner. Vegas has got these guys over under 11.5 wins. Prophet, you could always just go right in that 11, 12, 13 range with the Kansas City Chiefs. As long as Mahomes is there, as long as Andy Reid's there, as long as Kelsey's there, it doesn't matter how old they get, they can still play. I got these guys going over. I think they're going to win. They could easily win 12 or 13, but I got them going over. They just can't get off to the start that they got off to last year. They need to come out hot, and they need to come out a little bit quicker out of the gate than they did last year. And these guys are going to make another, another divisional title and another deep run into the playoffs. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you say the name Patrick Mahomes, and you said enough. Okay. The guy's phenomenal. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This team is trying to become the first team to three-peat, to have the first team ever to three-peat, and the first team since 2006 to have an opportunity to three-peat. Their running backs are good. They're solid, but not spectacular. And
I like Pacheco.
And Pacheco and Hilaire. I do too. They're solid.
You're telling me that I drafted Pacheco way too early in the second round?
Oh, yeah. If you took him in the second round, I think so for sure.
Oh,
but Mahomes has probably the best receiving core, that he's had ever to throw to. And Taylor Swift's boyfriend is as good as they get at tight end. They have a tough schedule outside the division, only because it's division play. I think they're going to go 5-1 in their division, and I think they'll probably win 7 games outside the division. I got them 12-5 on the year going over.
Yeah. All right, so we both got them at 12 or 13 wins. So obviously, a lot of fantasy implications with this team. What do you got there?
Well, I got Mahomes as the number 1 quarterback in fantasy. Pacheco is a top 15 running back. Rashee Rice is a top 10 receiver. Marquise Brown is a top 15 receiver, even though he's going to miss a few weeks at the beginning. Worthy is a top 20 receiver, and Taylor's boyfriend is a top 3 tight end.
Top 3 still. It wasn't long ago that he was number 1 without question. Is he not number 1 anymore?
Well, and that's only because of the other tight end. That's not because of his lack of production. Yes, he had an off beginning of last year, but when he decided to play, he showed that he could still play. There's some good tight ends in the league. You talk Sam Laporta and all.
Yeah, Laporta's a big time name. Yeah. He did it 1 year though. See if he can do it again. Kelsey, the one thing he's got going for him, he's done it for a long time. So Larry's got him going 13-4, and John chimes in with a comment. John chimes in with a comment. He said Aiden O'Connell will be the starter at some point this season, talking about the Raiders.
He very well could be, John, and that'll be a sad thing. It'll be good for me because that'll just ensure that they're going under the total, their win total. But
I don't know what's going on with your microphone, Prophet, or if it's just me, but I don't know. You sound a little different. So, but yeah, that'll wrap it up for our AFC West breakdown. I got the Chiefs winning the division. Prophet, I guess you do as well.
Yes.
Okay, so we're moving on to our $200 challenge, Sling'n Proffet's $200 challenge. We're playing our best possible pick for this division. And Prophet, we both got the same team, but we don't both have the same outcome. I'm going 200 to win 353 on the Raiders going over 6.5 wins. You're going 200 to win 40 on the Raiders going under 6.5 wins. So this will be the ultimate battle at the end of the season to see who comes out on top of this one. I'm telling you, man, 6.5 wins with Gardner Minshew. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, baby. We'll see.
And that's the Raiders 200 to win 420. I'm not quite sure what you said, but it wasn't 420.
That's why I did say that, but I don't know what's going on with your your computer here. So we're going to wrap this up. Obviously, we had a huge show tonight. Pete Powell joining us, CEO, founder of Advanced Sports. He's going to be sponsoring our weekly Pick'em segment. We're joining Belly Up. We got a lot of things going on this podcast. We're grateful to every one of our listeners out there and all of our fortunes that we're coming across on this podcast. We got BP joining us next week. We got the NFC West. And hey, football's back, baby. We got NFL regular season football. We're going to be back with the game of the week, the Jug Handle In game of the week next week. We got it all. Make sure you join our Run Your Pool Pick'em League. I'll put that post out tonight on our social media. Again, everybody, I appreciate you joining us. Same time, same place, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. next week. We'll talk to you guys later.
Good night, all, and thank